Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Whether you're in need of a website, domain or online store, make your next move with Squarespace. It's actually been quite a long time since the last weekly vlog. There's been other stuff going on, made other videos, so there's a bit of a backlog of just kind of the various other offcuts and various stuff that I've been up to. Welcome a very sporadic, more so monthly-ish vlog thing. So first off, you might remember in the Ashika Samurai review, I was out in Berlin. And during that time period, there were actually quite a lot of other stuff which I got up to, which didn't make it into that video because it was kind of more concise. But also there wasn't enough footage to do a whole separate video. So here's just a few things that I got up to there. So I actually managed to go to two really great exhibitions whilst I was there. The first one was by Edward Batinsky, and it was in this small gallery. I don't know where it was, I'll put it on screen. I think that anytime you get to see Batinsky's work in print, it's just so amazing. Because he's using these large format cameras or very high-end digital cameras, the prints that he's able to make are just so rich and overwhelming, and being able to see them at the true size which he chooses to display them just adds so much more to it. And I actually think it was really great to go and see such environmentally charged work. I know that recently I talked about that fly tipping photo and including more social issues in photos. This was just great stuff to kind of keep thinking about and ingest. And then the second exhibition, which I saw in Berlin, was Alex Soth's new work, I Know How Furiously Your Heart Is Beating. And actually I assisted Alec for some of this work whilst he was shooting in London. So it was really interesting for me to be able to go and see the final thing, because I already had an idea of some of what went on, and being able to see the kind of full realization was really great. And it's a similar situation to the Batinsky, where it's this guy's shooting 8x10. Obviously it looks great when you see it in the book or on Instagram or on his website, but seeing it when they're life-size portraits of these people it's just a completely different scenario. So next, I actually found myself in Denmark. I can't believe this is traveling around so much, but I was in Denmark back visiting Le Cabre, the coffee shop who I previously visited that you may remember. I was doing a bit of work there, and amidst all of this, I actually managed to walk around and take some nice photos. They were just kind of holiday snapshots and kind of things that I saw whilst walking around, and I was shooting on my Leica with a 35mm and some Colour Plus. And I think that one of the things that actually really stuck out to me about shooting there was this kind of light which hit the town in the early to late morning. I don't know whether it's because it was a coastal kind of situation by the harbour. It was just kind of this mist and kind of haze, which kind of acts like a giant natural softbox, which had some really nice kind of effect on the lighting. And then after there, I was back in England, and I was actually planning a little trip up north to try and take some photos that would end up in my exhibition. And the first thing which I was interested in trying to take some photos of were power plants. So I basically started just researching, and I went through all the different kind of Wikipedia results of the active power stations and scoped them all out and tried to find out which one I'd be able to get the best photo of. And that's when I actually came across the one in Pontefract. And this one really stood out to me because there was a housing estate so close to it. Normally with a power station, it's kind of a bit out of the way and you can't really get very close to it because it's dangerous. And this place had this kind of housing estate sitting there with it looming over the top. And I just knew from kind of scoping this out on Google Maps and Street View that there was the potential for a really bizarre scene and therefore a great photo. So I drove up with Aslan, and we had, I guess, 48 hours there, and it rained for the entire trip. There was no breaks, and that's pretty bad when you're shooting large format. I was under an umbrella. Aslan was very kind to help hold the umbrella. I just had to kind of sacrifice being worried about the camera for trying to make it happen. And I actually then learned that the power station is being ripped down pretty soon. So I guess it kind of happened at the perfect time. And I ended up taking 4 different photos. The first one was this overall kind of shot, the kind of scene that I was imagining. It was a bungalow in the foreground in this little housing estate with the power station looming behind it. Next, I was composing the scene of a house with some solar panels on it, right in front of the power station, a similar kind of situation. And I really liked the contrast between this kind of new efficient renewable energy on the solar panel to this kind of like looming power station situation. And whilst I was composing the image, actually Gordon, the man whose house it was, came out to let his dog out for a walk. We ended up chatting, and I then later knocked on his door and asked if he could sit in the portrait, and thankfully he obliged. So I actually took this photo with and without him sitting there, but I only scanned the one of him sitting there because I knew that I was going to prefer it. And then I also took a photo of this garage situation, which is like the back end of a garage in someone's garden. And I just really liked this crack and like reinforcement of the fence and like this weird just kind of eye of the headlight poking out through it. Yeah, in the end, I think the portrait didn't actually turn out how I was hoping it to, but like I'm glad I took it. It was worth the chance. I just think, yeah, he's too small in it. I don't know, I couldn't get closer and still have the same situation with the power plant. It's like a nice idea, but sometimes things don't kind of work. So in the end, I actually ended up choosing the first one with the power plant and the bungalow, and I'm actually really happy with it. We printed it pretty big for the exhibition, and yeah, I'm really excited to see that in a frame. Next up, here's a book which I've purchased very recently. It's called Somewhere Along the Line by Joshua Dudley Greer, and it's a classic kind of American road trip photography book. I think it's mostly shot on 4.5 and 8.10. It's just like a modern take on that amazing American landscape. It's really interesting to see how like times have changed through this work, comparing it to some of the classics, like with the introduction of like some bits about Tesla or, you know, like modern day things which are going on. It's just really well done. I think he shot it over like 8 years and so many different trips, it's just like a testament to the commitment, because every single photo in it is excellent and there's loads of them. It's just like painterly. It's got amazing colors, amazing lighting, and just the subject matter is always so interesting. There's so much like going on. Yeah, I'm just really stoked on it. It's very reminiscent on like a modern day Joel Sternfeld, but that's like definitely not a bad thing. I mean, if there's anyone you could be compared to, it's probably pretty great. And then an exhibition in London to top it all off. I went recently to the 2.25 William Eggleston exhibition at David Zwerner. I've never really given this work much of a look by Eggleston. It's medium format. It's a bit different and actually printed a lot larger than I've ever seen his work printed. It was really great to see. As you can imagine, if you've seen an Eggleston exhibition before, the colours are just so rich. Everything looks so just like vivid and sun-kissed and just really nice. And yeah, because I haven't looked at this work anywhere near as much as his maybe more popular stuff, it was just interesting to spend some time experiencing it. And also, just a bonus, the space is really nice. Okay, and then because it's been a bit of a long time since the last Photo Conversation edition, I've actually gone away and decided I'm going to choose 2 people this time. Like, make up for lost time, keep the ball rolling, and yeah, maybe that'll make it, I don't know. There were 2 that I liked. And the first one is Champagne. I guess it's a German scene of just kind of like a neon sign in a window. And I just thought the colours were very reminiscent of the last photo. There's kind of the same kind of standout colours in the image, but also the kind of motif of the circle that was a mirror in the last photo is now this kind of like neon beaded thing. And then the second photo, which I also chose because of the colour, was Sloppy Borders, which is on brand for this video. It's a power station photo, and it's just taken at a really great like dusk period where the lighting is like so strange and nice. And I'm guessing this is because it's like a longer exposure. You've got the kind of, you know, like when you take a photo of a river with a long exposure and it like does that like glassy effect. I feel like it's kind of got that vibe going on even though there's no water. And you can see that in the smoke definitely. And just like the way the light hits the building, it's just really pleasing. If you've taken a photo which you think could follow this next in the series, upload it to Instagram and hashtag it NFConversation, and who knows, maybe you'll be the next person which follows the line. So with all that said, I would like to thank Squarespace again for sponsoring this video. If you're looking to do anything website related, whether it's buying a domain, building a new site, whether that's a portfolio, a shop, a blog, pretty much anything. You can do it all with Squarespace. It's really easy to build a great looking professional website, and you definitely don't need any prior experience to do so. And the best thing is that you can get 10% off using the code negative feedback. So you could be way on your way to having a great, suave new website. So yeah, thank you very much for tuning in and watching this. I'm currently actually away again, doing some stuff, seeing some friends and shooting some stuff. So there's plenty on the horizon. Keep your eyes peeled.